going to have two papers. The first one will be by Felipe. I'm sorry if I pronounce your name incorrect.
No problem.
Okay, Felipe de Matos Rocha. Is that right? And he's from Federal University of Rio de Janeiro in the topic Jongo Da Serrinha.
Yes.
Analytical basis for a Ternary typology.
Thank you. So, good morning. My name is, as it was said, is Felipe Matos Rocha, and I will talk about Jongo Da Serrinha analytical basis for Ternary typology. This presentation shows the main slides of my master research in music composition, advised by Paulo Gentil Nunes and co-advised by Carlos Almada and Andrea Dur. In order to give a general view, it's important to say that the community of Serrinha, a Carioca favela, has a strong relation with samba rather than jongo. Some prominent characters can be listed. Mestre Darcy do Jongo, died in 2001. Tia Maria do Jongo, died recently in last May 18th. And the called girls, Serrinha girls, Lazi Simval, David Monteiro, and Luísa Marmelo. The structure of this presentation is historical context, appendices, two analytical techniques, and the Ternary typology, traditional jongos, jongo song, and jongo's plot. So the first topic, historical context. It all started in the region of Paraíba Valley, rural region which comprises a border between Rio de Janeiro and São Paulo, Brazil. That place received a large amount of enslaved people from Bantu Africa to work at a coffee farms, especially in 19th century. As an analogy, it can be said that jongo was conceived in Africa, but was born and developed in Brazilian land. There is no news of the practice of jongo in Africa lands in any time. Jongo is a Brazilian cultural manifestation of mestizo origin. However, the African culture Bantu is its greater expression. The Brits painting, circa 1822, shows jongo danced in a yard. Jongo was originated from a migratory confluence during the 19th century and was also emerged from this same process when it was transplanted from the rural to urban environment, from Paraíba Valley to capital of the then empire, Rio de Janeiro, in particular the Serrinha Hill, that has become the most important of the jongo's community. In Serrinha, jongo starts the mutation of a rural culture manifestation practiced by the enslaved Bantus from become, over the 20th century, a urban culture manifestation of former slaves and their descendants in southeast Brazil. Because of the rural characteristics, some historians declared in 20th century that jongo would soon be extinct. But we've seen jongo gain more and more space. Jongo reinvented itself. A curiosity. In this migration to the urban areas, jongo went as far as the railway line did. Thus, jongo is found exclusively in the southeast region of Brazil. Who took the jongo to the stage and had great merit to prevent its disappearance was Mestre Darcy. He is not important only to Serrinha community, but for all jongo players communities spread in the southeast Brazil. He was also responsible for starting the process of commercial recordings of Jongo with their music groups. Appendices. My resource for all the analysis were 4 musical albums released by Serrinha. They are LP Quilombo, CD Jongo Da Serrinha, a documentary, CD Vida ao Jongo. In these 4 albums, we can find 57 different compositions. One of them was a samba. Therefore, all 56 genres were transcribed. In my research, the whole analytical methodology is supported by the following appendices. Scores, lyrics, additional information, Schenkerian analysis of rhythm patterns, and 3 of my compositions which I apply some Jongo characteristics. Here you can see the first page of Suite Jongo Da Serrinha for a symphonic orchestra, Dual for clarinet and piano, and Mukulo for choir, percussion, and dancers. 2 analytical techniques. Many works on African or African American music in Brazil approach this subject from extra musical aspect, but my focus here is essentially on the musical structural view. Let's start with the melodic harmonic structure, which is based on a read of the Schenkerian theory in the works of Lester and Forte and Gilbert. From 56 transcriptions, 32 of them were analyzed. For this work, the limits of the Schenkerian analysis were applied to the repertoire that presented only tonal harmonic accompaniment, discarding modal jongos and a cappella. As a result of this research, we arrived at what we can call typical Jongo ursats. The melodic structure is predominantly 3-2-1, although it does imply a structural line of the type 5-4-3-2-1, harmonically supported by 1-5-1. The second analytical technique is rhythm formal structure, which is an inedited contribution of this research that I call APR, acronym in Portuguese for Analysis of Rhythm Patterns. It is based in works of Cooper and Maia, which is the theoretical framework, and Gentil Nunes, that converted the notation from symbols to letters and numbers, and Ledon Jackendorf, to represent the high-level structures by 3 graphs. Of the 56 transcriptions, 53 were analyzed. Maia defined rhythm as the way in each one of more unaccent beats are grouped in relation to the accent one. The 5 basic rhythm groupings may be differentiated by terms traditionally associated with prosodic: iamb, anapest, choc, datil, amphibrak. Gentil Nunes represented the strong accent by the number 1 and the weak by 0. So choc is 1-0 or T, iamb 0-1 or I, dactyl 1-0-0 or D, amphibrak 0-1-0 or B, and anapest 0-0-1 or E. In a practical example, we can see the difference between the notation. At first, we can see what would be the analysis done by Maia, which gets increasingly complex as layers are added. And then in the version of Gentil Nunes, which is simply view. This rhythm is read as amphibrach group containing an amphibrach subgroup. Applying these to the three graphs, we have the following relations. The large branch indicates the accent part and the smallest the unaccent. So these are respectively the rhythm partners chalk, young, dactyl, amphibrach, and anapest. The combination of these studies allows a privileged visualization of the rhythm formal structure of the analyzed music pieces. As I will go deeper, the application of the three graphs in the present paper follows a different goal from the explaining in general generative theory of tonal music by Lerdo and Jacandov. Another very useful feature is the path mapping of rhythm partners with Hasse diagram. And the fourth topic, Ternary typology. Let's see how these analytical techniques applied to the analysis of the repertoire at hand. In this universe of 56 transcriptions, which cover approximately 40 years recordings of Jongo Da Serrinha, the three types of Jongo were attended almost in equal quantity, as we can see. Traditional Jongos, 20, Jongo Song, 19, and 17 for Jongo's plot. Traditional Jongos comprise the oldest form of Jongo, serving as a basis for the others type. Let's listen.
Porque lavaram para com meu nome, porque lavaram para com meu nome nessa banda, porque lavaram para com meu nome, ui.
As for the number of the verses, the quatrain, stanza with 4 lines, or couplets, stanza with 2 lines, are more common. It is the type of jongo that contains only one section of predominantly 4 bars, strophic form. Melodic structure predominantly 3-2-1, although it does imply a structural line of the type 5-4-3-2-1. In their morphology, traditional jongos present predominantly binary phrases, 2 plus 2 or 2 plus 3. This is the number of the basic rhythm grouping, which are the lowest architectonic level for Maya. The layers are surface, group, and phrase. Jongo song is a development of the traditional jongos. Let's listen.
Eu tenho pena, eu tenho dó de ver Maria de saia sem paletó. Eu tenho pena, eu tenho dó de ver Maria de saia sem paletó. Se a Maria foi ao jogo, saia de militró. Seu botão arrebentou, sua saia foi ao pó. Eu tenho pena, eu tenho dó de ver Maria de saia sem paletó. Eu tenho pena, eu tenho dó de ver Maria de saia sem paletó. Eu tenho pena.
As for the number of the verses, jongo song follow the same patterns of the traditional jongos. Quatrain and couplets for each part are more common. Jongo songs differs from traditional jongos by having 2 parts, strophe and refrain. Internally, each of these sections have predominantly 4 or 8 bars. Here we can already observe a more commercial character that seeks in the song form or the ternary form a way to broaden its compositional boundaries, which justify the term Jongo song. The song form is predominantly melodic structure that finally reach the structure line 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But the 3, 2, 1 is still common. Morphologically, binary periods are predominant. Layers of analysis, surface, group, phrase, and periods. Jongo's plots. The proportion of Jongo's plots expand a lot in relation to the others type. Let's listen.
Quando a noite descia, o som da Ave Maria, som de tambor se ouvia. Dentro de uma senzala, em caminho pra Minas, vozes de jogueiro se ouvia. Na fazenda também gosta, é o estado do Rio, o jogueiro sentido a falar.
The main characteristic of this type of jongo is connected to quantity of verses, much more extensive, composing in many cases a long and descriptive script. Although some of these compositions are sung in the traditional wails of people to dance jongo, they are large and typically intended for shows. Jongo's plots are the ones that contain 3 or more sections, in which, in most cases, at least one section has more than 4 verses or more than one strophe, and consequently, the limits of the measures are also enlarged. It may happen that a jongo plot has 3 or more sections, and all of them obey the characteristics of the traditional jongos. The number of the measures varies greatly. As for the melodic structure, the same characteristic of jongo song remains. That is, the structural line are 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, or other less conventional ones. The form of jongo plots is broader and more varied. Morphologically, periods binary or are predominant. But while the traditional jongos and jongo song, each section could reach at most a period. In jongo plots, sets of periods, that is, sections, with capital S. So the main characteristic is section with capital S. That can be binary or ternary. The layers, surface, group, phrase, periods, and sections. Many points deserve a more in-depth explanation. However, in order to miss the subject of this presentation, I will be done in future publications.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions? Okay, maybe my questions. I'm just curious, the form of the plot, right? Can you find this similar format of plot in other modern Brazilian songs? I mean, the same pattern that you just shown? Or
Yes.
similarity?
It's similar to samba because there is a strong relationship between them. In samba, the oldest ones have one part only, the oldest one. And after the commercial resource and to sell LPs, it's more common to compose a second part, like the song, Jongo song. So Jongo plot, there is a similarity if in Portuguese is samba enredo or samba plot. There is this, these names there isn't exist for Jongo, but I defined that. But there is a similar situation in samba.
Thank you very much. Okay, any questions? Okay, if you don't have any question, let me just. Okay.
Maybe just a short remark. Sorry for being late. It's not yet a remark. But if we remember Mary McLean in the yearbook, he wrote, I think, some 10 years ago, as musicology lost its way. He was very concerned about the absence of structural analysis in musicology. And I think you made a very important point to bring things again together. And recently, last year's concerning multi-part music, I noticed that classical music theory gives a lot of tools to us. We should not avoid or declare as ethnocentric or whatever. We can help a lot. This is only one part of our work that is important, and I'm happy to see that such concepts will start iterating in Austria. We have folk music research some decades ago used very strongly Ternary analysis. So I think it's really a productive approach to find a common language for the phenomenon. So we will deal with every day. So just such a remark. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Maybe I ask also, I also very glad to see structural analysis in lesson musicology. I have a question about Shankarian analysis. How informative is it for analyzing such kind of music? Because in the end, we always find tonic dominance tonic and something quite more 3 to 1 or 3 to 1. How individual is this these models? Do you find the same model in all pieces of one kind? For me, maybe more typical will be just harmonic model like tonic, dominant, tonic, or tonic, dominant, tonic, or something, where harmonical functions here in the form. Yeah, because your Shankarian schemes they don't correspond with the bars.
No, don't correspond with bars. Yeah, it's interesting.
Is it representative of some type of genre?
Yes, because a lot of parts of the repertoire of Jongo is tonal. So when I analyze by this framework, it's give me some repertoire of analysis that in another theory I don't have. And when I use German theory for analyzing music in Brazil, it's a kind of thing to say the mestizo origin of this culture. It's not only African, but it's also European and African is all together. So it's not exactly correspond the structure, but it's a part of the repertoire that happened in Jongo. So.
Thank you very much for your very nice presentation. Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. And I just want to move to the next paper by Beatriz, right? Herrera Corrado from Universidad Rafael Landiva. Yeah, in the topic through the convex lens, converging journeys of contact improvisation, practice.